After seeing the price of bed frames online, I decided I would try my hand at making our own because we have very specific needs. We have slanted ceilings throughout the apartment, which means that we can maximize our space by having a bit more custom furniture. This was the state of the apartment when we first moved in, which is a mess. We bought a cupboard from IKEA, which makes the space even smaller, so we tried pushing the bed against the slanted ceiling to see if that was comfortable to sleep in. And then when it was, I decided to make a 3D model on SketchUp to see how that would work, what are the logistics of making our own bed. And then once I made a model that was easy enough for us to make, it gave us the measurements we needed for the wood. The first step after that was selling the bed, which we sold online, and I disassembled. We then went to the hardware store to buy wood that was mostly cut to size. We cut the angles at the bottom at home and also the back piece in half so that it's narrower. And I sanded that as well at home and got none of the footage because I don't know what I'm doing. And I have no woodworking experience either, so there's that. Once I remembered to pick up a camera again, I tested the wood stain on the underneath of the bed to see what method was best. I put 2 coats of stain on the visible pieces because I'm lazy, and 2 coats of polyurethane before letting it dry, obviously indoors because I live in Norway and it's freezing temperatures 9 months of the year. Once everything had dried for at least 24 hours, I prepped the space so that I could reassemble it in the room so to not fit it through the door frame, which it would not. Reassemble it with metal plates and brackets and just big wood screws. In hindsight, I would probably find better solutions to assemble it because it's currently very squeaky. And I used the holes that we already had made for when we dry fit it, so that was already ready to go and be screwed in. And I didn't use wood glue because I want to disassemble it in the future. I made pilot holes for the brackets and screwed those in. And we've had this bed for over a year and it's actually surprisingly sturdy. Although I probably do not recommend doing this without any experience. We haven't had any issues with the stability of the bed. That's me assembling the support piece where the slats will sit, and then I went ahead and shimmied the bed into place with the unconventional slanted ceilings, and in retrospect it would be easier to do it with 2 people, but I have 0 chills, so I thought I'd do it myself and break some stuff. That's me realizing that this might not have been the best idea, but we carry on. And once I was done ruining the walls, I put the slats back in place. These are just basic slats from IKEA, they're Leroy probably. And there is a gap between the bed and the mattress. The bed frame is bigger than the mattress, but it's not noticeable when we put the sheets back on, and it's really not been a problem. The only and biggest problem we've had with this bed is the squeaking, which I need to fix, because I'd eventually like to make a bed frame for this so that it's all cute and pretty, but first we need to fix the squeaking. I managed to rewire these beautiful vintage designer lights and put them in the wall, and they're everything. I'm obsessed with them. They're the best part of this room. And they match the bed so perfectly. So this was the phase 1 of the finished bed until we finally put in some legs so that there's room to breathe and it's not molding on the bottom. We eventually bought legs from IKEA. I think we put like 10 under the bed, and we bought screw plates online because the IKEA screw plates didn't work. And that's the finished product. This is a year later. She's still cute. I edited this video like a year or a year and a half ago, and since then we've tried to do something to reduce the noise with the squeaking. So we put some felt on all the spots, I know it's a little gross, but you know, we live here, on all the spots where the wood touches wood, we put this like felt adhesive everywhere so that it squeaked less, and it mostly worked, but it's starting to squeak again. And yeah, for the assembly I would put some like metal like thread pieces to screw the screws in so that it doesn't like damage the wood every time we screw it in and out. And overall I still need to build a bed frame maybe one day, or just buy a new bed because we've had this for a while. And the bunk spot is still there, going strong. But yeah, I still think that 2 years later it's been like a nice bed. And now it's just like the walls that need a bit more TLC. I don't love this like whitish gray. I prefer darker colors. So yeah.